we talked about Steve Kerr, and Steve Kerr made news this week when he was doing an interview. He's going to be one of the coaches for Team USA, and he made an interview saying that Kevin Durant is more skilled than Michael Jordan, and that set the world ablaze. Now, I wanted to do something. I wanted to give my top 10 most gifted. No, he didn't say most skilled. He said most gifted player. He said Kevin Durant is more gifted than Michael Jordan. And again, set the world ablaze. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give my most gifted award. I wanted to tell who I thought was the most gifted players to ever play. Now, before we do that, we need to understand what gifted means. Gifted does not mean the best player ever. It doesn't mean the best players. I don't think Kevin Durant is better than Michael Jordan, you'll hear my list in a second. I do think that Steve Kerr had a point where he's saying that he's more gifted than Michael Jordan. Again, gifted. Zion is an incredibly gifted player, but I don't think he's the best player in the league. So here's my top 10 gifted players. Now, before I do that, what is gifted? To me, gifted is talent. Not talent. Gifted is you do something that nobody else can do, or you just don't look like everyone else in the league. Whether that's your skill, something about your skill set, something about the God-given ability, or the God-given abilities, or God-given attributes, body attributes that you have. That to me is what kind of determines gifted, in my opinion. You can be the most skilled player or gifted player, but doesn't mean you're necessarily the best player. I mean, we'll talk about it. First and foremost, here's my top 10 most gifted players. Number 10, I get Wilt Chamberlain. Now, the reason why he's at number 10 is because Wilt Chamberlain was just... You saw you saw old clips of Wilt. He was running like a gazelle. He could assist the ball. I mean, he has a 100-point game. He has several 70s, 80s, 90-point games. The reason why I say he's the 10th most gifted is because, again, he was just doing things that nobody was doing. Now, again, I understand that the talent in the league wasn't where it's at right now than it was back then, but even still, Wilt was 6'11", 7 feet over here, running like a freaking gazelle, and he was quick. And I remember they said that he had an interview and he said, I don't feel like scoring this season, so I'm gonna lead the league in assists, and he did that. Like, Wilt Chamberlain was skilled. I mean, was a gifted player. Now, and Wilt Chamberlain, I don't think he'd be as, Wilt Chamberlain, you have to have another record book for him, because just the things he was doing. Now, again, I understand the talent level wasn't where it is today around him, but Wilt was just doing things that was just incredible. And that's why when you look at some of the records that he holds, you looking like, yeah, ain't nobody ever going to touch those. So I have Wilt at 10. Number 9, I have Dwight Howard. People, I know, whoa, you hear that? People already turning off the episode. People were getting ready to start clicking in like you're crazy. People forget that when Dwight Howard was in Orlando, if it wasn't for, like, Dwight Howard he looked different than anyone else. He could jump higher than anyone else. He was stronger than anyone else. Hell, Dwight Howard was so good. He did not develop. He didn't develop again. Like, he did not develop a skill. Like, he couldn't do a really good hook shot. He didn't have post moves. Yet and still, there was no argument who was the best center at the time. For a while, I think he finished second in MVP the year Derrick Rose won. Like, Dwight Howard was incredible. That was a gifted individual, and the only reason why he had a decline, and it even wasn't. Now, I understand that what happened in LA wasn't the same. He wasn't the same player that he was in Orlando. The thing was, again, it was his back. So Dwight Howard is number 9 for me as most gifted. Number 8, I have Westbrook. To me, Westbrook, I don't think we'll ever see a guard as as physically gifted as Westbrook. I mean, his energy, his bounce ability. I mean, he is 6'3" with the most triple doubles in league history, I believe, in the regular season. Like that is a feat that I don't think we'll ever see, especially with the players I don't think you'll ever see that. And this is coming off of somebody that really can't shoot. So the fact that you're getting all these assists, getting all these points, getting all these rebounds, and again, I think Derrick Rose could have made this list, but if it wasn't for injuries, especially early in his career, and shouts out to Derrick Rose for still playing, through all that, but I don't think we'll ever see a player like Russell Westbrook, because of his energy, and it's just Westbrook just looks different than everyone else, and he's only 6'3", so I have Westbrook at number 8. At number 7, I have Timmac. A lot of people forget how good Timmac was because of the injuries, and something does have to be said about his playoff record. But Timmac just looked different from everyone else. He was he was shorter than Kevin Durant, but he was just as lanky as Kevin Durant. His scoring ability was crazy. His bounce ability was crazy. T-Mac just looked different from everyone else. T-Mac was incredible. And I think that's another player that injuries kind of robbed him of his peak, I guess, because we know about the foot, leg injuries, the back injury, the shoulder injury. Like his body just gave out on him. But T-Mac at his peak was incredibly gifted, especially he could score with the best of them too. He's one of the best. Hell, you listen to the great Kobe or late great Kobe Bryant saying that T-Mac was him. So I have T-Mac at number 7. At number 6, I have Vince Carter. Man, look at Vince Carter from the beginning of his career. In fact, look at Vince Carter at UNC. Vince Carter just looked different from everyone else in UNC. Then when he got to the league, he couldn't really shoot, but he could score, and of course, his dunking ability was second to none. And look at Vince Carter at the end of his career. It's kind of like Jason Kidd. When he got into the league, Vince Carter was a raw talent. He could dunk on anyone, and he was dunking on anyone. Of course, we know about the famous Team USA dunk, but he wasn't that good of a shooter. Then, of course, when his career started to grow and bloom in Toronto, especially we remember the series against the 76ers, he started to be able to score, and his scoring ability started to increase, and he was dropping 50s against Allen Iverson and the Sixers, and his bounce ability was still there. And then, of course, he moves on, and if you look towards the end of his career, he became one of the most lethal three-point shooters in the league. Like, Vince Carter, he just looked different. His bounce was different, and that's something that you see a lot from these players. They just look different, and they just do things that other players just can't do. So that's why I have Vince Carter at number 6. Number 5, I had Dr. J. Now, I don't know. Have you seen Dr. J's arms? Like, this man has the longest arms known to man, and the fact that what he was doing, before and after the merger, and he was probably one of the biggest reasons why segregation was still there. The way he was just destroying white people, bro. Like, it was bad. Him and Wilt, man. Him and Wilt was killing people. And Dr. J, his bounce ability, and a lot of these, when I say gifted, you can do calf raises and you can do jumping, drills, but you're never going to be able to jump. It doesn't matter if I can do jumping drills and calf raises and squats and whatever for the rest of my life. I will never be able to dunk as good as Vince Carter. I will never be able to dunk and move as gracefully as Dr. J. And hey, And Dr. J, of course, like I said, the talent level back then wasn't in today, but Dr. J was playing. I mean, Dr. J, that's Dr. J. He was playing against George Gervin. He was playing against some great player, Larry Bird. Like, that's Dr. J. Magic Johnson was out. So I have Dr. J at number 5. Number 4, I have Dominique Wilkins. Just look at Dominique. Just look at Dominique Wilkins walk. Look at the dunks he was. Look at the dunks Dominique Wilkins was doing in these end game dunks. Dominique Wilkins was the first Vince Carter. Now Vince Carter to me kind of eclipsed him as far as talent in my opinion. But Dominique Wilkins, bro, oh man, Dominique Wilkins was doing things that was unforeseen. Like the thing that really hurt Dominique was, of course, injuries, and he didn't really have the Hawks team that he played with sucked. But Dominique, bro, just look at some, just go type in Dominique and look at some highlights. Look at the way he was dunking on people. Look at the way he was jumping off the floor. Like, just look at it. Just look at it. Dominique. Dominique Wilkins was incredible, bro. And the fact is, Dominique Wilkins' body, like his body was, it's hard. Dominique Wilkins, bro. That's number 4. Number 3, I have Magic Jordan. I'm Magic Jordan. I have Michael Jordan. Doesn't really much need to be said. Michael Jordan, arguably greatest player of all time. He just looked different. You look at his era. He was doing things offensively. His bounceability, his defense, his tenacity, his aggressiveness. He was just doing things unforeseen. Like, he was doing things we've never seen. And it was crazy, man. He was leaps and bounds better than every single person in the league when he was at his peak. Like, Charles Barkley was in the league. Gary Payton was in the league. Isaiah Thomas was in the league. Like, he was leaps and bounds better than every single person in the league. And I mean, it was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was just in a class of his own. So I have Michael Jordan number 3. Number 2, I have Kevin Durant. And I put him at number 2 is because same thing that Steve Kerr said. Kevin Durant is 7 feet tall, have handles like a guard, has shooting ability like a guard. And the fact that he is 7 feet and his arms are so long, his legs are so long, you can't really contest it because he's releasing the ball at such a high point. And he just has the intangibles. Now, people can hate Kevin Durant for the decisions that he made with his career. It is what it is. But you can't lie and say Kevin Durant is not one of, if the most gifted player, because we've never seen a player like Kevin Durant. That's another. Most of these players, we've never seen a player like. I've never seen a player like Vince Carter. I've never seen a player like Dominique Wilkins. At his peak with his athletic ability and his bounce ability, I've never seen a player like Dwight Howard. Not saying these are like all-time great or whatever. I'm not saying these are the greatest players or everything, but I've never seen a player as physically imposing with the athleticism that Dwight Howard did when he was in Orlando. Like, we've never seen players like this. And Kevin Durant, you never see a player like that. We've never seen a player that tall, that with that handle, that shooting ability. We've never seen it. So that's why I have Kevin Durant at number 2. And number 1, I mean, people can say he's not skilled or whatever because he's not the greatest shooter. But LeBron James is the most skilled player. First of all, I think, the last 2 years was the first 2 years he had some serious injuries, and one of them is because a person dived at his ankle. LeBron James, his scoring ability, his body, his strength, his defense, his court vision. There is never going to be a LeBron James. There's never going to be any player that is like LeBron James. And it's not just because of basketball skills. It's just because of everything else. There's no one that's going to take their body as seriously and have that God-given frame as LeBron James. It's just never going to happen. There's never going to be someone that, LeBron James is different, man. is LeBron James is different. He's arguably one of the greatest players of all, if not the greatest player of all time. That's LeBron James. So I have LeBron James as my most gifted player to ever play. Now I'm almost sure. I'm pretty sure that people are not gonna agree with some of this list. So if you don't agree, put in the comments down low. We'll talk about it. Who's somebody that I left out? Who's somebody that you agree with me with? Who do you think is too high? Who do you think is too low? Let me know. Put in the comments. We'll talk about it. But that is my top 10 most gifted players the NBA has ever seen. Also, if you like it, let me know if you want me to do top 10 gifted players ever, as far as not just NBA. You know, we can throw in Bo Jackson in there, Deion Sanders, Anderson Silva, John Bones Jones. Let me know. I'll do it. But that is my top 10 most gifted players to ever play in the NBA.